Some of the craziest things people have done in their lives include using steroids, getting caught in domestic violence situations, going bankrupt, and even committing battery. But here's the kicker. Jose Canseco managed to check off all of those boxes over the course of his career. Jose Canseco is probably best known for his role in the performance-enhancing drug scandal that shook Major League Baseball. He didn't just get caught using steroids, he openly admitted it in his book, Juiced, where he also named other players. His shocking revelations even led to congressional hearings, and in the process, they severely damaged the reputations of many players. One of the most significant fallouts came with his former teammate, Mark McGwire. The two, famously known as the Bash Brothers, had a close bond both on and off the field. But as Canseco's accusations about steroid use came to light, it created a rift between them. The tension and distrust surrounding those claims eventually tore their friendship apart, leaving behind a complicated history. But that's just one side of the drama. Canseco's life off the field has been just as chaotic. He's had multiple legal troubles, including arrest for domestic violence and battery. In 1989, he made headlines when he was arrested in Florida for reckless driving after allegedly leading an officer on a 15-mile chase. Later that year, he was arrested again in California for carrying a loaded semi-automatic pistol in his car. Then in 1992, Canseco faced charges for ramming his Porsche into his wife's car following a heated argument. Though he pleaded not guilty, he underwent counseling and did community service. His personal life continued to spiral, with another arrest in 1997 for beating his then-wife, Jessica. He eventually pleaded no contest and received probation and counseling. In 2001, Canseco and his brother Ozzy were involved in a nightclub brawl, leading to aggravated battery charges and probation. A couple of years later, he was jailed for testing positive for steroids while on probation. Financially, things took a hit too. In 2008, Canseco revealed he lost his house to foreclosure, blaming costly divorces. That same year, he got caught trying to bring a fertility drug into the U.S. from Mexico and was sentenced to 12 months of probation. As if that wasn't enough, Canseco has also made several controversial comments over the years that really grabbed the wrong kind of attention. His words have often sparked debates and made headlines for all the wrong reasons, putting him in the spotlight for the wrong issues. What's truly shocking is how, despite all the drama and chaos surrounding him, Canseco still managed to have such a successful career. Drafted by the Oakland Athletics in the 15th round of the 1982 MLB draft, Canseco quickly made a name for himself with a monstrous bat. By 1985, he was tearing up the minors, racking up home runs and earning the nickname Parkway Jose for his bombs that nearly left the ballpark. His 25 home runs in just half a season in Double-A Huntsville earned him a late-season call-up to the majors. He debuted in September 1985 and showed instant promise, hitting .302 with 5 home runs in just 29 games. The next year, he was the favorite to win the American League Rookie of the Year, and he did just that, with a stellar 33 homers and 117 RBIs. By mid-1986, he was leading the league in home runs and RBIs, but a late slump cost him the RBI title. Still, his power and promise were undeniable. In 1987, Canseco teamed up with fellow slugger Mark McGwire, forming the iconic Bash Brothers. The duo was a force, combining for 80 home runs and 236 RBIs. Canseco himself hit 31 homers, drove in 113 RBIs, and had a solid 257 batting average. But his next big leap came in 1988. He guaranteed a 40-40 season, 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases, and delivered. With 42 home runs, 40 stolen bases, and a .307 average, he won the AL MVP unanimously. The A's made the World Series but lost to the Dodgers in 5 games, despite Canseco's grand slam in Game 1. The 1989 season started rough for Canseco as he broke his wrist during the preseason and missed the first half of the year. Yet he returned with a vengeance, hitting 17 home runs in just 65 games. The A's dominated, winning the AL West and eventually the World Series, where Canseco contributed with a solid postseason performance, including a home run in the series. In 1990, Canseco was again at the forefront of the A's offense, hitting 37 home runs and driving in 122 RBIs. He also had 19 stolen bases, and even though he battled back issues, he finished with another impressive season. Oakland reached the World Series again, but Canseco struggled in the series, and the A's were swept by the Reds. Despite missing games due to injuries, Canseco remained a powerhouse. In 1991, he won his second home run title with 44 homers and 122 RBIs, but his relationship with A's manager Tony La Russa seemed strained. Still, Canseco's numbers spoke for themselves. He had 231 home runs, 5 All-Star selections, and 2 Silver Slugger awards in just his first 7 seasons. By 1992, he had become one of the most dominant hitters in the league, combining power with speed and a knack for clutch moments. From 1986 to 1992, Canseco averaged 32 home runs and 100-plus RBIs per season, cementing his legacy as one of the most dynamic players of his era. On August 31, 1992, Jose Canseco was traded from the Oakland A's to the Texas Rangers in a stunning move. The A's, leading the AL West, sent him to Texas for Ruben Sierra, Jeff Russell, Bobby Witt, and cash, hoping to improve their pitching. Canseco, at the time one of the best players in baseball, was hitting .243 with 22 homers and 72 RBIs in 97 games. The trade caught everyone by surprise, from the fans to the media. Canseco had hit more home runs than any other player since 1986, with 226 home runs by the time of the trade. In Texas, Canseco joined Latino stars like Rafael Palmeiro, Juan Gonzalez, and Ivan Rodriguez. He started strong with the Rangers, hitting .367 in his first 8 games, but struggled after that, managing just 6 hits in his next 43 at-bats. Despite the injuries and trade, he finished the 1992 season with 26 home runs and 87 RBIs over 115 games. The 1993 season was a mix of highs and lows for Canseco. He started strong with the Rangers, hitting 17 RBIs in the first 17 games, and became the first player since Ted Williams in 1947 to reach 750 RBIs in under 1,000 games. But his season was derailed by a bizarre incident in May when he got hit on the head by a fly ball, which went over the fence for a home run. Then he asked to pitch in a game, injuring his arm in the process. After Tommy John surgery, Canseco missed the rest of the season, finishing with just 10 home runs and 46 RBIs in 60 games. In the shortened 1994 season, Canseco made a strong comeback. Playing as a designated hitter, he hit 31 home runs, drove in 90 RBIs, and posted a .282 average. He was on pace to set career highs in several categories before the players' strike cut the season short. Canseco was named Comeback Player of the Year and finished 11th in MVP voting. In December 1995, Canseco was traded to the Boston Red Sox. He had a solid start in Boston, hitting .306 with 24 home runs, but injuries again took a toll. He missed 50 games in the first half of the 1996 season, but when healthy, he hit 26 home runs by the All-Star break. However, he was sidelined again in July and only hit 2 home runs after returning in September. Despite the injuries, he finished the season with a .289 average, 28 homers, and 82 RBIs in 96 games. After the season, he requested a trade out of Boston, having missed over 120 games in his 2 years with the team. After years of dominance with the Oakland Athletics, Canseco was traded to the Texas Rangers in 1992, marking the beginning of a series of transitions that would define his career. By 1997, after a few seasons with the Rangers and the Florida Marlins, Canseco was back with the Oakland A's, reuniting with his former Bash Brother partner, Mark McGwire. The fans went wild and ticket sales soared as people flocked to see the famous duo together again. Canseco had a solid first half of the season, hitting 18 home runs and driving in 57 RBIs, but his back injury once again sidelined him. He was shut down in August, finishing the season with a .235 batting average, 23 home runs, and 74 RBIs in 388 at-bats. It was a disappointing end to an otherwise productive year, but Canseco's future in Oakland was uncertain as the team wanted to develop younger players. In 1998, Canseco signed with the Toronto Blue Jays. He played in both the outfield and as a designated hitter, putting up impressive numbers: 46 home runs, 107 RBIs, 29 stolen bases, and 98 runs scored. It was one of his most productive seasons, but his .237 average and a surge in strikeouts were signs of his growing struggles at the plate. Despite his performance, Canseco and the Blue Jays didn't agree on a contract extension, and he became a free agent in October. By 1999, Canseco found himself with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, where he would have a career revival. He hit a home run on opening day and quickly became the team's star player, hitting 25 home runs in his first 60 games. By the All-Star break, he had 31 homers and was selected as the starting designated hitter for the American League All-Star team. Unfortunately, Canseco's back troubles returned and forced him to miss the game, along with the home run derby. However, after surgery, he made an impressive recovery, and by the end of the season, he hit 34 home runs and had 95 RBIs, showing that he still had plenty of power. After the 1999 season, Canseco's injuries began to catch up with him. Despite his strong numbers, the 33-year-old was finding fewer suitors in the free agent market. He returned to the Tampa Bay Devil Rays in 2000, but nagging injuries continued to limit his performance. By the middle of the season, Canseco was traded to the New York Yankees, who were in need of power for their playoff push. In a short stint with the Yankees, Canseco played in 37 games, hitting 6 home runs and driving in 19 RBIs. He wasn't a regular starter, but he made an impact in the World Series, earning his second championship ring with the Yankees in 2000. In 2001, after a short-lived stint with the Yankees, Canseco signed a minor league contract with the Anaheim Angels. However, after a subpar spring training, he was released by the Angels. He spent part of the season with the Newark Bears of the Independent Atlantic League before joining the Chicago White Sox. At 37, Canseco still showed he had power, hitting 16 home runs in just 256 at-bats. That season, he hit career home run number 462, putting him just 38 home runs shy of 500. After his brief stint with the White Sox, Canseco was signed by the Montreal Expos in 2002 for a minor league deal, but was released before the season began. He tried to keep his career alive with various independent league teams, such as the Worcester Tornadoes and the Rio Grande Valley White Wings, but his time in the big leagues was over. Canseco officially retired in 2002 after playing 30 seasons of professional baseball. His impact on the game of baseball was undeniable. He hit over 400 home runs and was one of the game's most dynamic sluggers during the 1990s. He was a part of some of the most memorable moments in baseball, from his time with the Bash Brothers to his later years as a veteran slugger. Even after his MLB days were behind him, Canseco continued to play in independent leagues and remained involved in the game. And that's a wrap for today's video. If you had a good time, be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss out. See you in the next one.